Hi folks, so this is today, what's today? January 8th, and we're here in the new year, and we thought, Dana and I thought we would bring something new, maybe something fresh to the table to all you guys on basically just, I think a lot of the research that's been coming out more recently from our friends over at Precision Nutrition and their reviews that they publish every month. We thought, how selfish of us for us to just keep it to ourselves and not share it with the rest of you guys. So what we thought we would do is basically put together maybe a bi-monthly or maybe every, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how enthusiastic and excited we get about some of these research reviews and how often we'll share them. But we will share at least one a month with you guys on about anything from nutrition to fitness to nutrition to exercise science and even behavior change psychology from again our friends over at Precision Nutrition. So today's episode is going to be on problem foods and around this topic of moderation. Does moderation actually work? So this research review comes from the first issue from Precision Nutrition on basically problem foods and what does the research actually tell us. I want to actually throw it over to Daniel here to ask him, why is it that he chose this one first for you guys, but also I guess what the basic premise of the study was, what the I guess outcomes were, and then maybe we can just have a real casual discussion about what we've seen and then maybe how this applies to you guys. So Daniel, over to you on the study. If you want to actually just
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll be pro with it.
I want to make sure
All
I
right.
talk that way.
All right,
The
we'll be pro, so you guys can hear me. So one of the reasons I chose this study to kick things off, well, no, first of all, it was number one. But the second thing is some of what the study, the methods and strategies they used to manage problem foods, I think I've heard everyone at PF try some of these methods. And so I thought okay, well, let's actually look at some science with the methods you guys have been trying to see which ones correlate strongly with weight loss or whatever it is. So the study starts really simple. They just basically, it's done by Penn State, which is American Pennsylvania.
Penn State,
Yep. Okay. And they just ask for problem foods, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate to some of these. So ice cream, chocolate, pizza, cookies, chips. Those are some of the top ones, right? And I'm sure there's plenty others, and probably you guys have your own problem foods as well. So they asked 186 women to kind of highlight what strategies they adopted, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty interesting. Some of the strategies I'm going to read pretty carefully here, so watch out. So some of the strategies included: I avoid eating my problem foods, I avoid buying my problem foods, I limit the portion of problem foods that I eat eat problem foods less frequently, but I don't worry about the amount I eat a lower calorie version of my problem foods instead, I avoid keeping problem foods in my house, car, or workplace, I allow myself to eat small amounts of my problem foods as a treat or a reward, I rely on my friends, family, and coworkers to help avoid eating problem foods. So I'm sure you can hear about probably think about yourself oh, that's one I do, or that's one I know someone's doing, or for example, I don't know, Hong Kong, the low calorie beer is hitting the market crazy, right? And there's one right there. I buy a low calorie version of it.
And this was a 12-month weight loss program, right?
Yeah, so this is a 12-month weight loss program with 186 women. Now, this is the pretty cool thing that I kind of found. Now, the main finding, okay, that limiting the portion size of problem foods was strongly related to weight loss. In fact, people who used that strategy the majority of the time lost nearly double the weight of everyone else, right? So the one that's the best one to use, according to the study, is I limit the portion of problem foods that I eat. Now, for me, that was really cool. It's that significantly shows that which strategy will help you get the best results, which I thought was a pretty cool thing to take away.
Yeah.
So the reason, once again, I brought that up, is if you are someone right now who, for example, is choosing the low alcoholic beer, or is the person who is asking coworkers don't buy these, don't bring them in the office to me, or the person that is oh, I don't eat them normally, but when I do eat them, I don't worry about them. These are literally things they tested in the study, right? You can see how does that actually work with this huge sample size. And like I said, if you find yourself, you're limiting your, the specific wording is, I limit the portion of problem foods that I eat. If you find yourself specifically doing that, you're probably gonna have more success than others who are doing other strategies. Now that's not saying that the other strategies don't work at all right? There were some success with the other strategies. However, the one that was most successful was limiting the portions of the problem foods.
And then in that study specifically, what they found was that those who actually lost double the weight, I mean, the double the weight for these people, these participants, was like an average, what did it say, 7.2 kilos, so about 16 pounds, versus 3.8 kilos or 8.3 pounds. So I think anything over 10 pounds, anything over 2 whatever 4 kilos, something like that, is going to be substantial. But I think also visually very noticeable in terms of that. So these people were on 16 pounds of weight loss, or 7.2 kilos. So I guess what are the sort of the main takeaways here, and then how can these guys and girls I guess apply some of this into their daily lives?
So I think the key thing is, okay, which strategies are you currently using? Based off the ones we've talked about, which ones are you currently using, and which ones could you use more of and more often, right? So for example, if you are using a low calorie beverage, or you're using the ones where I just don't buy it at all, maybe you can pivot to using a different strategy. The next thing is figuring out what your problem foods are, right? If you actually know what they are, great. And the thing is that we're saying right now, the way we're phrasing problem foods is it's very black or white, right? It's like there's problem foods and there's good foods, and that's not the case at all. I think you've heard probably Ryan and I say like 1,000 million times, food is a spectrum of food, right? And so highlight what the big problem foods are, or what we're probably going to refer to as red light foods. And then you also have green light foods, which are foods that you can eat loads and loads and loads and loads of, right? And then you have this whole spectrum in between. So what are the red light foods? What are the foods that you probably shouldn't be having that often? And when you do have them, you need to limit the portion that you're having. They're probably going to be in the yellow lights and the red lights, right? Red light maybe don't even have it all. Yellow light have, but limit the portion. Then you're going to have your green light, just go crazy. So I think the important factor to take away is which strategy you're using, and then on that spectrum, when are you using that strategy? Are you using it when you go out for your boozy brunches? Can you still do brunches?
I think so, yeah. As of
boozy.
now, but when this video publishes, I don't know.
So
might not be able
are you doing your boozy brunches, and are you limiting your portion controls then? And then that's your red light area, that's your yellow light area. And then when you go home and you're cooking a thing, or cooking a thing, what the heck is that? Cooking like a broccoli or oh my God.
Cooking a broccoli.
Cooking a broccoli, guys. When you're cooking a broccoli, go crazy, green light, go nuts, enjoy it. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. What is strategy you're using, and which foods are you using that strategy with?
I mean, most people know their problem foods, right? And so I think making it more aware, making it more explicit to oneself by making a list of like, these are my red light foods. These are the foods that I should be a bit more careful with, because I know what the outcomes are when it comes to making these decisions or bringing these foods into my body or into my system. Can really help. I think just raising awareness to the foods. What are your green light foods, as Dan was saying? What are your yellow light foods? And what are your red light foods? Can make a significant difference. Again, that awareness. The other thing that the study looked at was environment, and how powerful environment really is. Now, the study did not, it was not about suggesting to avoid all foods, and I think that's the whole idea of this whole thing, moderation. But it was about, okay, well, we have found success in allowing all foods, but just controlling portions overall. They had the greatest weight loss, but also looking at a person's environment. Now, the person's environment also played a huge role in terms of the decisions that the people were making, but also they found that a lot of these clients were in offices, or they were in environments where there were a lot of their red light foods that were present. So environment, as always, is one of our big sort of big rocks here in terms of making change, is always going to be a big factor in terms of helping move you in the direction that you want, or moving you further away from obviously the goal that you want as well. You add anything to that?
Nail on the head. Environment is everything. I think was it Berardi,
Berardi,
when I found it as a precision nutrition, Berardi. I want to say Jim, but it's not John Berardi. Thank you. John Berardi is first law of nutrition. If you buy it, if it's in your house, you will eat it. Someone you love will eat it, or whatever will eat it. So if it's in your home, if it's in your environment, you will eat it, or someone who you care about will eat it. It's as simple as that, right? And that's exactly how environment can play into it.
And that can be difficult. I mean, I don't want to go too far off track, but that can be difficult when we live in a city like Hong Kong, where everything is so convenient. You know, just walking home from our studio in Central, like on the, I think it was just walking down to the next district. I mean, there are easily over 100 different options.
Yeah,
maybe not anymore, sadly enough, but you know, easily over 100 different options that are all barking for your attention to say, come to me, give me your money, you know, eat my food that's hyper palatable, that may not keep you satisfied for a long time, but it'll absolutely taste amazing going down. You know, so I think environment is absolutely important. You know, from a lot of the literature that we look into, we know that 50% of our decisions are shaped by our environment. So that's a big piece. That's a really big piece. And maybe that's the next research review, or at least in the coming videos, we can actually take a deeper dive.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Because I want to keep talking about like how you then like environment on your phone. If you have the apps, you see Deliveroo, Uber things everywhere. You scan it, so it's so convenient and easy, right? Anyway, that's
Cool.
So just to kind of summarize the highlight, maybe we'll just finish off with, once again, the main finding of that study was that they weren't avoiding all foods totally, like Ryan said, and the people who had the most success in terms of weight loss were the ones who adopted the strategy of, I limit the portion of problem foods that I eat. That's not to say other strategies don't work, but that was the most successful out of people who were on this weight loss program.
Okay, all right. Well, that wraps up today's first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe we'll add in some extra resources for you guys for this one, but also for future videos as well. So if you like this, please let us know. Give us your feedback, and if you have any anecdotes or any stories of your own that maybe relate to what we're talking about, we want to hear it. Like, let us know.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up today, and we'll see you guys for the next one. See ya.